So thank you for staying with us tonight. This has turned out to be a night that may go down in history as one of the darker moments in American major party politics. Here's the context. Here's how I think we got here. And I think we got here by deliberate means. I don't think this was an accident. One of the really important, really intense things that's been going on in our country over the past few years that has mostly been happening outside of big-time electoral politics has been a race issue and a justice issue and a civil rights issue and a public order issue, frankly, in cities and suburbs all over the country, where major controversies and at times public unrest has broken out in response to police killings of African Americans. In the St. Louis area, we saw Ferguson, Missouri go up like a cauldron there after the killing of an unarmed teenager named Michael Brown. In Chicago, it was dash cam footage of a 17-year-old named Laquan McDonald being shot 16 times by a Chicago police officer. In Cleveland, it was first just the story and then some almost unbelievable footage of Cleveland police rolling up on a 12-year-old boy in a city park and shooting him dead in an encounter that took less than 3 seconds. That was Tamir Rice, who was killed in Cleveland. So the St. Louis area, Chicago, Cleveland. Those are not the only 3 American cities that have proven to be real tinderboxes around issues of race and racism and policing and violence. But those 3 happen to be the 3 most recent stops on the itinerary of Republican presidential contender Donald Trump, whose rallies have featured racially charged incidents of violence for months now. But as Donald Trump's campaign left the Deep South and prepared to swing into Chicago tonight and Cleveland tomorrow, we've seen one part of this phenomenon is becoming more intense at Donald Trump rallies. There have been instances in the past where he has encouraged or at least praised the idea of violent actions by his supporters, when he's spoken wistfully about how great it would be to beat people up at his rallies, or he's told people that he would pay their legal fees if they beat up a protester on his behalf. He has done that in the past. But this sort of bloodlust, right? This half tongue-in-cheek, mostly serious call for a tougher America where there are more beatings and where anti-Trump protesters should fear for their lives. As he heads into these tinderbox cities today and tonight, I just want you to watch how that part of candidate Donald Trump's rhetoric has escalated. Okay, we've put date stamps on these comments from him. These are all comments from him from the podium at his public events. We put date stamps on them so you can see when he made them. We have laid these out in chronological order. If you want to see the crescendo here, if you want to see the deliberate act that created what happened tonight in Chicago, well, watch where it came from. And where this culminates is what has happened over the course of today and into tonight. And it really is like nothing we've ever seen in mainstream American politics before. We have seen this at the fringe of stuff that's barely called politics. When I was a kid growing up in Northern California in the 1980s, you used to see this kind of thing at skinhead events, right? But this is now mainstream, front-runner, Republican national politics. And tonight in Chicago, it really turned into playing with fire. But if you want to know where it came from, and you want me to prove to you that it was deliberate what happened tonight in Chicago, well, here's where it came from. Watch, this is chronological.
If you see somebody getting ready to throw a tomato, knock the crap out of them, would you? Seriously. Okay? Just knock the hell. I promise you, I will pay for the legal fees, I promise. I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher, folks. That's true. I'd like to punch him in the face, I'll tell you. In the good old days, they'd rip him out of that seat so fast. But today, everybody's politically correct. Our country's going to hell with being politically correct. Going to hell. Get him out of here, please. Get him out. Get him out. Are you from Mexico? Are you from Mexico? Huh? Are you from Mexico? Get out of here. Get out. Out! Oh, this is amazing. So much fun. I love it. I love it. We having a good time? USA! USA! All right, yeah, get him out. Try not to hurt him. If you do, I'll defend you in court. Don't worry about it. He had 4 guys. They jumped at him. They were swinging and swinging. The next day, we got killed in the press. That we were too rough. Give me a break. You know? Right? We don't want to be too politically correct anymore, right, folks? Get him out of here. Get him out. Get him out of here. Get him out. Are these rallies the most fun of everybody, right? Do we have the most fun? Do we have the most fun? Yeah, get him out of here. Get him out. Get him out. So disruptive. Remember when Bernie Sanders, they took the mic away from him? That's not going to happen with us, folks. That's not going to happen. Remember that? He walked away from the mic and he stood back and he watched these 2 young girls talking to the audience and they said, we came to listen to him. And he was standing in the back as 2 women took the mic away. Now, that doesn't happen to us. Get that guy out of here. Get him out. Get that guy out of here. Get him out of here. We had some people, some rough guys like we have right in here, and they started punching back. It was a beautiful thing. I mean, they started punching back. In the good old days, this doesn't happen because they used to treat them very, very rough. And when they protested once, you know, they would not do it again so easily. But today they walk in and they put their hand up and they put the wrong finger in the air at everybody and they get away with murder because we've become weak. We've become weak.
Anybody who tells you there is no connection between the behavior of the mob at these events and the behavior of the man at the podium leading the mob at these events is not actually watching what he has been saying from the podium.
Amen.
And what he has been saying and the way he has been egging this sort of thing on, it is escalating.
Yep.
I mean, that very last clip we just showed there from him, that was in Fayetteville, North Carolina on Wednesday night. And that was when the Trump supporter threw that sucker punch elbow in the face of a protester who was being taken out of the event.
Yep.
That man there with the ponytail throws the elbow right here. He's since been charged for doing that. He got arrested and charged the next day.
78-year-old.
If you want to know why things escalated today to the point where this Donald Trump rally had to be canceled tonight in Chicago because security fears that there was no way it could be kept under control and then it quickly proved the point. If you want to know why this happened tonight, consider that Trump supporter was charged with physically assaulting that protester at a Trump rally yesterday. He was arrested and charged yesterday.
Yep.
And then this is how Donald Trump today, again in St. Louis, not exactly a city that is at ease on issues like this right now, right? This is how Donald Trump today in St. Louis talked about violence at his rallies, talked about the rightness or wrongness of his supporters throwing punches at protesters and beating people up at his events.
Yep.
This is what happened today at the event before Chicago went off the rails tonight.
Yep.
You know, part of the problem and part of the reason it takes so long is nobody wants to hurt each other anymore, right? And they're being politically correct the way they take them out. So it takes a little bit longer. And honestly, protesters, they realize it. They realize that there are no consequences to protesting anymore. There used to be consequences. There are none anymore. So that's it. All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Are they gone? Yeah, they're gone. Our country has to toughen up, folks. We have to toughen up. These people are bringing us down. Remember that. They're bringing us down. No reason for it. These people are so bad for our country, you have no idea, folks. You have no idea. They contribute nothing. Nothing. They can get up, and when they're being whisked out, they can raise their bad finger up in the air and drive people, which is very unfair. And some people get very angry at that because you know what that represents. And then when they get a little bit overly angry, they're in trouble. The guy that raised his finger, no, that's no problem. That's no problem. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get him out. Get him out. Troublemaker. Get him out of here. Hurting this country, folks. Hurting this country. Big mouth. You get him out. Go home to mommy. Go home and get a job. Go home, get a job. Get a job. I'll tell you, these are not good people, folks, just so you understand. These are not good people. And I heard this was going to happen, and they said, Mr. Trump, would you like to cancel? I said, absolutely not. These are not good people. These are not the people that made our country great, but we're going to make it great again. But these are not the people. These are the people that are destroying our country. Right, you get him out. Get him out. Come on, let's go. Get him out.
That's the way that Donald Trump has been talking about protesters at his events.
Yep.
That's the way that he has been directing his supporters at events to treat those protesters.
Yep.
That was today.
Yep.
If you want to know what led up to Chicago tonight,
Exactly.
that was Donald Trump's display of leadership and calming the waters at his event this afternoon.
No president.
Terrible.
Apparently, officials of some kind in St. Louis were worried enough about what was going to happen at that rally that it was suggested to Mr. Trump, at least he said it was, that maybe that event should be canceled. That event was not canceled. It went on, Mr. Trump lamented that we can't be rough enough with protesters anymore, that these are terrible people, that these are the people destroying our country, that we need to toughen up as a country anybody who gets in trouble because they do something to a protester who gives them a finger. That is the... Yeah. That's what he did in St. Louis. They didn't cancel St. Louis. They did cancel Chicago. After the streets were full around the venue, after the venue itself was full of thousands of people, and they just let them all in, and then they called it off, and then they left and just let them fight it out. Literally fight it out. American presidential politics isn't like this for anybody else. Nope. American presidential politics did not get this way on its own. This is the work of an American presidential candidate who deliberately made this happen.
Yep.
And the Republican Party is about to nominate him for president.
Yep. God save us.